Hello, hello. Welcome back to Minds on Mushrooms. I'm your host, Maggie Kirkwood. Today is a good day. We have my new friend, Jay Fiset. I always cherish any conversation around normalizing some things that have been such a wonderful benefit to my life and so many others. And there's going to be a lot to cover, but I just wanted to introduce you, Jay. Thank you so much for taking time and joining me today.
Well, I really appreciate having me, and I can't wait to dive into the conversation. Our connection thus far has always been fascinating and entertaining in terms of our conversation. So this should be fun.
Rock on. Well, first and foremost, just before we kind of got going and online today, I was simply just asking you, how is it, as the audience will be sure to, point to all things that you've built in this space. But I first and foremost want to say, I just look at your work and your beautiful wife, Cory. The two of you have kind of built just this, this really special empire, I would call it. Because to me, it is this idea of true unconditional love and support around all of this work and the trials of a relationship and really having to, change each of you to come together to get here. And so I'm so inspired in so many ways. And I guess let's just start there. Why don't you give a little bit of background, maybe if you can? I think you call them chapters and titles. And I'll just have some questions for you. But yeah, I really want to just hear about how psychedelic medicine was kind of a catalyst in terms of your relationship.
Yeah. And just for context, I will do just chapter titles. You can ask for any other information about it. Just, my wife and I have been in relationship, not always intimate and just, together, but for 40 years. Actually, a little longer than 40 years, believe it or not. So there's a lot there. But short version, high school sweethearts who took a little break for 5 or 6 years in terms of college and university, although in that time frame, we were still in a relationship. Like literally, I had a business, it went bankrupt. She loaned me the money when we weren't dating. She loaned me the money to go back to school. So when I say we were in a relationship, we were in a relationship, even if we weren't together. And we just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary. We tease about, it took 10 years for us to get married. So I always felt like we sort of rushed the altar a little. And that's funnier to some than others, but I thought it was funny. So as we were heading towards our 25th wedding anniversary, we weren't in good shape. And both of us kind of were at the spot where it's like, this is not going to continue. Like this is just not it. And we've been struggling significantly for about 5 years. And we've been invited to try MDMA by a bunch of people that we respected. And we were always like, we're not putting a chemical in our body like this. That's some dumbass made in a bathtub trying to make five. Like this, it was just a hard no. And and as we were heading towards the 25th wedding anniversary, I did MDMA with a gentleman that he was a friend and a client who had been leading MDMA journeys for years, and I trusted him to give it the experiment. And I had this unbelievable transformative experience where it was like a Broadway spotlight shone down on this brick wall that had been built between Cory and I, and every single brick had a little story or a little excuse or a little justification about how we got to where we were.
Okay.
And I just saw it so clearly that sort of enough is enough. So I came home, had what we've now called the talk. And the talk was, listen, I love you, and this is not working, as we both know. So I'm going to lose weight, fix my teeth, grow my hair, and get on with my life. I would love if you could come with me, and it seems pretty clear you can't, and that's okay. And it was the very first time we didn't have this conversation about, well, you do this, and I'll do this, and we'll do this, and then I'll do this, and you'll do this, and like all this conditional if-then bullshit.
Yes.
that would always work for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and then crumble.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it was just like, this is, enough is enough. And it's not because we don't love each other. It's not because somebody's unfaithful. It's not because there's abuse. It's not because there's addiction. It's just that we had this drift that was growing between us, raising 2 kids, burying 3 parents, doing end-of-life care for a couple of them.
That's right. So yeah, I guess my question is, so do you think it was the MDMA experience? It was solo, correct? Or not the both of you, just you, correct?
It was me and a handful of clients and my executive team for my business. And I should just say this, because when I agreed to do this, I had only one reference point, which was, I thought that these folks, we've been working like crazy in San Diego for 2 weeks. I thought we were going to basically the equivalent of smoke a little weed, and with this beautiful penthouse suite, smoke a little weed and watch the sun go down, and it'll be a nice way to celebrate our 2 weeks of work. And clearly it was not that.
Little did you know, although both of those sound pretty great to me. But so, okay, then it's like you got clarity on like, all right, I've got to take some action, or I've got you are willing to put that work on you to get real clear and say, this is how we move forward or we fall apart.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's amazing.
And I want to be clear with it. At that stage of the game, I was still virtually certain we were done. Like this, it was like the invitation is open. I would love for that to be the case.
I see.
But everything that we had done up to that point was just these little blips. It was 3 months, it was 6 months, it was 9 months. It's like, I don't have the strength to go through one more call a half-assed attempt again. I'm fucking done with that. So,
okay. And then how was Cory about you even entertaining and doing this experience? Was she open to it, or did you even?
I didn't tell her until after. So that was the end of the talk. It was
I see.
We were just at that spot where it's like, honestly, your perspective about this. And by the way, she was in San Diego for those 2 weeks and then came home to take care of the kids. I guess it was 10 days for her. And I think if she was there, I probably would not have done it. Seriously, that would have been squished or squashed or any of those sorts of things. So at that stage of the game where we were in such a spot, it's like I had no desire to talk to her about it. I had no desire to get her agreement for it. It was irrelevant. The ship had sailed. And it's like, now how do we park the fucking thing? Is the honest if that makes any sense.
Well, I'm already just so generally with the people I've worked with, the idea, they don't work it out. They split. So it's exciting to hear a story of success. So then you have...
can I pause that?
Yes.
In terms of, because I don't, and I think that this is one of the most important points. I don't know that for everyone staying together is success.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things that I hold very, I don't know what the exact right word is, but staying together is not the highest and best for everyone.
Correct.
And I believe that it turned out to be that for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I must say this, and this is why I jumped in there, Maggie, is that we had that conversation on March 3rd of 2020. Mm-hmm. The world closed down on March 13th of 2020 with COVID. And what was fascinating about that is that we then had this opportunity to have these, what we call deep, meaningful conversations. And this is the important part that people, I think, have difficulty wrapping their head and heart around. We weren't having those conversations to fix us or to repair our marriage or to stay together. The premise of the conversation is we love each other. We are still fundamentally committed. There's been no great, let's call it gap or wound or chasm for us to cross. We have a little bit of money. We have kind of a clue. We've got some support in terms of our family and our loved ones and those sorts of things. And we are done. How the hell did that happen? Like, how did two people who actually love each other get to the spot where we're done? And so we came to these conversations at the beginning with just like curiosity, because it was like, at that stage of the game, it was beyond, well, you didn't, and it wasn't that. It was like, so.
Wow. Yeah. Acknowledging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so after, did you fixed some things up, or how? And I want to hear.
Well, and honestly, hundreds, thousands of hours of conversation. So that was March. Our 20th anniversary was, is August 3rd.
Okay.
And in the gap between March and August, we went to our 25th wedding anniversary and chose in that week. And we by the way, I know not everyone, COVID was hard on some folks, but for us, we created a hashtag, which was hashtag best pandemic ever. Not that we have a bunch to choose from, but literally we went to Vancouver and spent a week being with one another and exploring, where we're at, what we learned, what had transpired. In that stage, we'd already lost 60 pounds together. We'd already transformed our sex life. We'd already become better parents. We'd already, all these things had occurred. And on our 25th, we decided to redo our vows and recommit to one another and to lean in for what we called relationship 2.0. And the thing that I want to say as clearly and out loud as possible is that I think for most relationships, this standing at the chasm of it's okay for us not to be in this relationship. And if we're going to end the relationship, we should really understand ourselves and how we got here from an act of love and respect for one another, if nothing else. And I started to call that standing at the edge of the chasm. And I really genuinely believe that this stuck till death do us part bullshit is not sound. Also, on the other side of it, it's like, oh, this is inconvenient and you hurt my feelings and I'm out, is not very wise.
Avoidance. I think that, it takes so much courage to be able, or for both of you to explore yourselves and meet yourselves, meet the truth, right? And sometimes the truth is painful.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
So I'm curious about, it sounds like the bigger, the larger work was actually, having some of these acknowledgments and then truly so many conversations. And let's talk a little bit more, though. Did you explore other plant medicines? As a couple, and I kind of want to hear about some of the experiential stuff and working together as a couple.
Yeah, great question. So I came back from that MDMA experience and it was like, Cory, I want you to do this. Like, you have to have this experience. I don't have words for it. It was like something like was virtually otherworldly / spiritual, except COVID kicks in. We been, anti drug, etc. for our whole lives. So I have no idea where to get it. So literally it takes 6 months to find MDMA from a safe source. And I say my definition of safe back then and my definition of safe today are not the same, but as safe as we could find. Sure. So in that meantime, we experimented with psilocybin, which we could get pretty easily and those sorts of things. So we used psilocybin a fair chunk. We used some cannabis a fair chunk in that time frame. And then it was actually our 25th wedding anniversary day, 25 years exactly, that we did our first MDMA experience together. Oh. And that was absolutely utterly spectacular, just for fun and entertainment, because in that 6 months as we reinvented ourselves and our sex life and those sorts of things, we got a little bit fun. Let's just say we got a little enthusiastic. So the morning after that anniversary, I'm getting coffee at the coffee machine at this beautiful suite in downtown. In downtown Vancouver. It's got a rooftop deck and all the rest of it. Anyway, wow. I'm getting coffee and Cory gets up and goes into the living room and she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, what happened? What? She goes, we've been robbed. I said, we've been robbed. And I come out and the place looks like it's been ransacked for sure. It's like, what do you mean we've been robbed? It's like, look. And that's like, no, that was us playing last night for 9.5 hours. Oh. Yes, it's like, yeah. And then she goes on the deck and there's clothes and all those sorts of things. Like,
oh, wow.
Anyway, the point being is that we went from a space of what I would call mechanical and obligatory sex to just really exploring and having a ton of fun with one another to the degree where she thought we were robbed.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty special, actually. No, I appreciate your conversation around it, because I think I do get a lot of questions around exactly that, like how to safely explore. I'm always telling my friends and family and whomever, like 1 gram of psilocybin, I feel is, I don't know, that's my safe and healthy spot. But and yeah, MDMA, I have used that, and I am learning more. Have you had any kana?
I have it in my medicine box, and I have not done it yet. But it is it's handy, but I haven't made time for it yet.
I hear it. I haven't had it either, but I have some samples on the way. But I've been hearing a lot of talk about using it as an alcohol or MDMA kind of replacement in larger doses. So without the toxicity, I just want to. MDMA is one that I feel should only be used very small amounts throughout the year. Is what I'm learning.
Well, can we lean into that for a moment? Because here's and just in complete transparency. So Cory and I have been on a 6-week cycle for 6 years.
Okay.
Okay. And when we started, because you got to know, like, I'm a skeptical research. Show me the science, show me the proof. I want to know. I send everything, our supply and what we supply our certified guides with in terms of connection is a couple of the best labs in North America. And I still send absolutely everything out for independent testing. Like, I'm not safety.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah.
So one of the things, and by the way, if anyone's watching this and you actually have research that has measurable data on this, please share it with me. So I'm still in the exploration stages, but here's what I'm getting at. So I probably spent over 100 hours, maybe 200 hours when I first started, trying to find the exact research around neurotoxicity for MDMA in terms of frequency and amount. And here's the honest goodness truth. I have yet to find anything, not one freaking research study that actually declares what the dosing is and the frequency. I've never seen. And if any of you have one, please send it to me. But here's my assessment of this. Reading study after study after study that says significant use or frequent use. Well, what the F does that mean? So give me a measurement, give me a date range, give me a profile, and now we have something that we can talk about. But to my knowledge, I've spent a lot of time searching, there is nothing that actually reinforces this neurotoxicity piece, other than going back to when they were giving meth to the monkeys, that actually has a fundamental piece that says it should be 3 months or 9 months or 6 months or. Now, let's also be clear about this. I got one more thing to say about it before I get off my soapbox, which is there is a lot of, let's call it anecdotal data in the rave scene. But let's be clear about this, for Christ's sake. There are kids, young adults, all those sorts of things that are doing half a gram, a gram and a half over a 3-day festival. Like we're talking about 200 milligrams every 6 weeks. Like these are not the same things. So anyway, if you have science and research around that data, please send it to me. I'm open to being educated, but good God, I've spent a lot of time searching for it and I have not found it. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, I love it. And thank you for speaking about that. Yeah, unfortunately, my soapbox is experiential and so everything comes down to dose, right? So,
well, dose, recovery, preparation.
Correct.
Of your body, menopausal women, and I'm not saying that's true about you, but my dear wife, as menopause has unfolded, her consequences from MDMA are higher. But that doesn't mean it's neurotoxic. That means that her body and her hormones are having more difficulty actually processing it and managing her serotonin system. Like the complexities of this are daunting. And for context, we have like about 400 people in our community who have been doing this semi-regularly. and we're able to identify some pretty significant themes. Gut health is another huge one that throws people for a loop. Anyway, it's fascinating.
I love it. It's fascinating, and I love to hear all of it. So thank you. I also like to have options, and Kana is just one I'm excited, although I haven't tried it yet. So we'll have to compare notes.
Have you tried sass as well?
Sorry?
Have you tried sassafras as well?
I have not, but I hear similarly, similar benefits, correct? Or
yeah, well, we tease people. It's like sassafras is like MDMA's kinder Canadian cousin.
I like that.
So we use it for lots of folks who have recovery issues or conundrums with MDMA. The experience is very, very similar, probably like 95% of MDMA with probably a third of the after effects. Okay.
Got you. Yeah, I think I had asked you in a prior conversation, a medicine that I enjoyed, Wachuma, San Pedro, with a partner. That's a fun one. And just sharing. Let's see here. I wanted to kind of get back on track. So you and Cory, obviously, you put in all this work, right? And did you kind of just get to this point where you're like, you can't stop talking about how good you're feeling? How did you go from where you were and this relationship healing and all that work to where you are now? I mean, I want to hear more.
That's an interesting question. So, and let me just say it out of the gate, which is, had you told me 4 years ago or 5 years ago, this is what we'd be doing for a living, I'd have said you fell and hit your head. Like, there's absolutely no possible way for that to occur with what we do. Like, no. But what occurs for us is we go through this reinvention, and it's still in the middle of COVID. We literally live on the end of the street in a cul-de-sac where there's a dog park. And so people would come to the dog park. So in the middle of COVID, where you're not supposed to leave your house, we literally had people coming and knocking on our door, saying, like, listen, we've been watching you guys, and I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, like, can you help us? And at that stage of the game, we're now actually diligently working on our marriage. We're like, listen, we're just trying to stay married. At this stage of the game, we can't help you. We don't like. You go. Now, that, while as weird as that may sound, I should qualify this, is that we've lived in Calgary since about 1984, 85. And we ran this personal development company where we put about 40,000 people from all over God's green earth through those courses. So people knew who we were, and we had this grad base of people who still were in our world. So a couple of those conversations, and then us really being sort of taken aback at what transpired. And we decided that we would go and get certification, because we were just flying blind, making shit up, trying to figure out how all of this worked. And clearly we made, I don't know about any of you, but at the beginning of experimenting with psychedelics, we made a couple of mistakes, and it was like, ooh, yeah. Time out. So we went and got training, and we decided that we wouldn't make any decisions until after that training. And it was a week-long intensive with a bunch of other digital support and all those things. And on the way home, it was like, let's run a beta test. Let's just see if what we created, which we called Adventures, which we ultimately called the connection experience in terms of the model and the protocol. Let's just see if it helps anyone else. Like, maybe we're just the weirdo anomalies. So literally, we made a Facebook post. We said, we're looking for 12 couples to test this process that we've been going through. Less than 36 hours later, we had all 12 of those beta spots filled. And we just tested it, and without any obligation or expectation, or it's like, this is what we're doing, please give us feedback, all those things. And it stunned us and blew us away in terms of, many couples say that this is the best night of our lives together, full stop. Wow. And that then unfolded into, it's like, well, we'll do a couple of connection experiences. And then that unfolded into, well, we got some requests for personal journeys. And then that unfolded to, well, a whole variety of things. So now we have like 7 different protocols. We train and certify guides. We license our connection experience facilitator training, so that people can actually license the model that we built. And all of this is accidental. This was never our plan. This was never our intention. It just kept unfolding.
Wow. Okay. Well, I want to unpack a little bit of that. So starting with this beta test idea for these couples, was your offering, and whatever you're comfortable sharing, was this MDMA related or psilocybin related?
Yeah, good question. So here, so I want to answer the question, but I want to give it a broader lens. Okay, so which is in terms of the three categories of psychedelics. So the classics, so psilocybin, LSD, all those sorts of things, which are all non-specific amplifiers, which and just to be clear, was whatever's going on physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, consciously, and less than consciously can get louder. So if somebody says, I get anxious on mushrooms, that's not really true. You're anxious on mushrooms, turn up the volume. So for the most part in couples work, we steer clear of the classics. The dynamics of a relationship, all the pieces that are going, we don't want a non-specific shit show amplified. So we generally don't use that. Then the middle category are empathogens and entactogens. So that's MDMA, MDA, sassafras, 2CB, 3CB, 2CB, 3-MMC, 2-MMC, 4-MMC, and a variety of others. So that whole family all work fundamentally on the release of dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine, and or the management of that going on. It often is heart opening, amygdala takes a little bit of a vacation, and it's very presencing and bonding. So we use mainly the empathogen and entactogen family. And then of course, there's dissociatives, which would be ketamine, salvia divinorum, nitrous oxide, 5-MeO, DMT, depending on dose. So those three categories. So we always, and this is a big part of our guide training, is that we are a multi-medicine guide training place. And it's how do you bring these three pieces together to fulfill the purpose of a particular protocol. So going back to your question, we use primarily empathogens and entactogens. MDMA is one of the medicines, and we use multiple.
Wow. Good work, Jay. I'm so impressed just with all of the medicines and just hearing you talk about them all so knowledgeably. Knowledgeable. Okay, I'm now curious. So you went and are a certified. Did you partake in the coaching program through Third Wave as well?
No, I'm on the faculty of those, of both of the programs for the MPC and the PCP, which is they've got their large one that goes to Costa Rica, and then they've got the microdosing certification process. My formal training did not address microdosing at all. Microdosing is sort of new to the field for us, and I've learned most of that through my relationship with Paul, and coaching Paul in terms of the development of that microdosing program. I had a significant hand in the creation of that. Gotcha.
Yeah. That's so cool. Obviously I went through that training program. I think it's an amazing one. And okay, so just kind of getting back, so you guys started offering some beta tests and just getting good feedback, great response, kind of making the ripple effect, as I like to say. And your work just kept expanding. And let's talk about some of your offerings. If you want to highlight a couple, let's feel free. But yeah, I just kind of want to hear more about what sorts of how you're working with people today.
Well, our really, so there's three things that I would love to focus on. One of which is the couples work, because this idea of healing ourselves in the context of a relationship and transforming a relationship, I think is arguably some of the best work that can be done in the universe. And like it literally heals us as individuals. It creates a new chapter in our life. It keeps families together. Like there's just so many spectacular pieces about it. And the connection experience is a truly unique animal that doesn't really exist anywhere else on planet Earth in terms of the structure, the 10-day container around it, the support after it. And if somebody's in a fundamentally loving relationship and committed, the process of being seen, witnessed, and acknowledged as my true self, when my partner is their true selves, without the friction, without the bullshit, without the projection, without all those things, that witnessing process, in my humble opinion, is more powerful and more healing than any other single factor in the entire universe. A couple in that space do things that a therapist will never be able to do.
This is what I mean by what I say. Like, I think it's, I don't want to cut you off, but it's so special. Carry on.
Bring it.
I'm just saying, like, that's, when you say that, I believe it. The witnessing and the unconditional love and support that comes with the witnessing, to me, is it all, I guess. I mean, I know that what I like to say with this work is it's the hardest work, but the most important work you'll do. And to know that you're conquering, on your own, but then having someone be able to witness this incredible hard work and new life is pretty special. So
witness it, collaborate with it, co-create it, celebrate it, acknowledge it. Those moments that our community, like we lean in. So anyway, I'm going to do a left turn here just for a brief. Another we're big on integration. We actually have a community called Integrate, What Happens in Between. And we're heading into our third year where, quite frankly, we used to do it weekly, and then weekly got a little bit too much. So we do the first and the third Wednesday of each month. And there's basically 15 categories of integration. We have guest speakers and contributors that give us little tools and processes for each of those weeks and each of those application pieces. And one of the categories of integration is something called witnessing and observing. And so witnessing and acknowledging, which is when we see something different in the one that we love, we just stop and say, I see you being different. This is what it used to be. This is what it is today. And I just want to acknowledge the evolution and the transformation that has occurred. When that is delivered outside of medicine by the one that we live with, love with, that we're creating a life with, that does more in terms of the neural pathways and the reinforcement and the present tense transformation than arguably any other single factor.
Wow.
And anyway, it's just one of the pieces. So if people are still in the relationship, the experience is just one of the most spectacular things in the entire universe.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, mine seem to run away.
Well, that happens too, and sometimes that's for the best. Like, I am so not attached to.
I think that's the key. You have to be stepping into the unknown at all times and believe in what's meant for you is meant for you, but also be acknowledging, doing the work, acknowledgement and the work, and then I think the more aligned and your loved ones right there with you, amazing.
Yeah. Can I just share, if Cory was here, and by the way, she wanted to be in this, but she's leading a journey for a brilliant friend and client of ours from Texas. One of the shifts at the beginning, this that we were talking about, this mirroring thing, is in this curiosity stage before we are really trying to do anything with us. It's just like, I'll never forget. It's like we're in the conversation. She goes, "Well, fuck." And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Well, just as we're having this conversation, it's so clear to me right this very second is that, for the past however many years, I've just been a big fat no. I've just been a big fat no to fucking everything. And it doesn't even matter what it is. I'm just a big fat fucking no." And so it's like, I can give all these lists of things that I was attempting to do, and it was always no. And so and not that instant, but her promise after that came back. It's like, listen, I'm going to be a sea of yeses. Instead of a wall of no's, I'm going to be a sea of yeses, and we'll see what happens. I'm not saying it'll be forever. I'm not saying any of those sorts of things, but I'm going to throw myself into being a sea of yeses and just see what happens, because the unconscious resistant no, we're done. Yeah. We're obviously over. And that was one of the core shifts within the relationship of being able to see and witness ourselves honestly and objectively in our patterns and our protections.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Love it. Let's see. So yeah, you say Cory is currently right now in ceremony with someone. That's so great. I kind of wanted to talk about, off screen. I had asked, how is it that you are so confident and sharing the work that you do? And I think a big piece of it for me is just the belief and the knowing that you're helping and supporting, and the integration piece is. And I just wanted to say, I was drawn in. I heard you on Paul's podcast, just really emphasizing the work, the integration. It's not about the experience. Well, it is, but the work really starts there. I think in these chaotic times and days, I'm really truly believing that more education is needed around all of this. But I just kind of want to hear about how you speak up in Canada about your business and when people come to work with you, and the stigma and all the things. How is that unfolding for you?
Yeah. So number one, it's a really good question. I'm asked it a lot. And, the sort of simple answer is this, is that I'm basically unwilling and incapable of hiding and bullshitting. That's the first process. Just
I love it.
I can't do it. So we have always been very transparent of, my role, my title, how I introduce myself is I'm a psychedelic advocate, educator, and guide. So I am transparent about that anywhere I go, everywhere I go. If something I will not back off from that. And I really believe it's a part of our role. If we are in this space at this point in time, it is our role to, number one, diminish the stupidity of the propaganda that has unfolded over the years. It is to be a great example. It is to maintain spectacular ethics. It is to blaze a path upon which healing on our planet can unfold. So hiding that is inconsistent with choosing to be in this space, in my humble opinion. And by the way, I'm not saying put yourself at risk. That is, I don't want anybody to be harmed in this process. But to do it and to be a chicken shit about it, I judge, just as clear as I can say it. So we're transparent about what we do. The actual process of becoming one of our clients, we are very cautious around. And that is a process of filtering, of intake forms, of informed consent, of a whole variety of pieces before we will ever work with you. So that's how we do our very best to protect ourselves in that process. And my overall stand is this: the current space of medicine, the current space of politics, the current space of our legal system is utterly and completely fucked and is not in the best interest of most of humanity. And I am unwilling, unable, completely not going to play with, yes, we'll help you with your depression in 17 years after you've been dead for 9. Not doing that. The government knows goddamn well what is going on. They just can't catch up fast enough. And here's a great example. I have several clients who are actually in law enforcement in Canada, and one of which is a 24-year veteran of the Calgary Police Force. And we required them to sign an informed consent that says, I understand that this is illegal. I understand I understand all these pieces, and I'm doing so of my free will. And I've had my, anyway, we do a very good job of that. And so I say to them, it's like, listen, I know what it means to sign this, which is you sign this and you lose your job if it ever came about. You can't participate unless you sign. So how are we going to, what are we going to do? And he was very transparent with me. He's like, number one, I understand. If something were to occur, I would, number one, fight it, because I have friends who are veterans and first responders who have actually gotten MDMA-assisted therapy through the support of the government. And for them to say it's okay there and not here, I'm going to battle that. And if I lost that, quite honestly, I would simply just take my package and I'd quit. Me and my wife are here because we want this, we need this, we know this, and I'm going to take that risk. So anyway, it's that transparency and strength, like, anyway.
It's so true, though. Yeah, I think I can relate in so many ways. I really, truly believe, not only of the concept of free will, but if you have seen with your own eyes or experienced such beautiful notions and healing and all of the things, it is so important just to have conversation and hopefully normalize conversation just around all of it. But yeah, I see similar support with law enforcement and first responders, and just understanding that the medicine can, in so many ways, be so beneficial. So I appreciate all of the conversation. I just wanted to hear from your perspective. And I think, again, yeah, you speak straight from your soul, and you can't bullshit. So I love it. And amen to everything you said.
So can I end this with just this thought, which is, I don't want anyone to risk getting themselves or their families harmed or any of those pieces. But my call to people who are in this space is to be more transparent about it. We need great people with good hearts, with intelligence, who are leading the way, and to break the views of, and let's be clear, there's a bunch of wackadoodles in this space, to lead the way for what I'm going to call the vast majority of humanity to consider this as an option and to lean into it. And that's the role we're all in right now in this space.
True that. I think, I couldn't agree more. And I think that there's a reason we are here during this time, and all paths have collectively led many of us to this space. And again, I just appreciate all the work that you and Cory have done, all of the things you've put together. There's so much more we could go on and on about, but I really just wanted to kind of take a deep dive into that relational aspect with the medicine. We've got the Valentine's Day just around the corner here, but my latest take on Valentine's Day is it's about unconditional love for yourself, and then you go find your lover.
Yeah. I love that.
Awesome.
It's true. Like, I mean, if we, the interview I was doing this morning with Samantha Spiro, she had a line. What was that? Let me just see if I can find it, that I thought was so great, which was, and the question is like, what is self-love actually, and how self-love has to precede any true experience of loved and being loved and loving. It has to come from that foundation. And if we can't, it's not going to transpire.
Yeah, it's so true. And I appreciate any conversation around just awareness and hearing such a beautiful story. And we know the work is endless, and we're forever students, but it's exciting just to connect over. I want to have a full-on conversation around medicine another time. But good. Jay, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I would love to book that, because and I'll just tell you a little, do we have 2 seconds for a story?
Yeah. Continue. Let's go.
So we just finished our Foundations Guide certification program, the intensive 8-day here in Calgary.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
We had a gentleman who's been in the space for 20 years, leading ceremonies, primarily plant medicine, and variations thereof. And the consistent theme that we heard over and over and over again is like, how did I not know that? Where did that come from? Like, how did you discover that? Like anything that related to medicine categories, medicine stacking, creating protocols that utilize the sort of lasers exaggerating, the precision of a gift of a medicine or the drawback of a medicine.
Oh, okay.
Like in 20 years, I've never heard any of these things. So anyways, it is one of our magic tricks, and it is one of the foundations of our training. And it's something that I love talking about, because when it is done well, it takes a medicine and just imagine magnifying its strengths tenfold and mitigating some of its challenges. And every medicine has both gifts and difficulties or challenges that we must be able to navigate our way around. So anyway, that's a conversation I love.
Awesome. Well, looking forward. Did you say you had one more little story, or?
No, that was it. It was just the gentleman who in 20 years is like, how do I know that?
Well, that whole thing, that's another thing that looked phenomenal, and I want to hear more about it. Is the whole experience that you put on. So great work. Are there any, just so we can get it on air, any places where you would like to shoot people to learn more?
You know what? And you'll put a link there?
I will in the description, but just to get it in out loud.
Yeah, so two things in terms of just keeping an eye on us. We have a private Facebook group where we're more transparent about what we do and how we do it and all those sorts of things. And I can send you the link, and people have to ask to be in, and we'll go stalk you and make sure you're not ICE agents.
Yeah, I mean.
Sorry, I couldn't resist with Minnesota. And put you in the groups. That's one thing. And then if you're curious about what we actually do in the connection experience, there's what we call the fireside chat.
Yes. Okay.
The fireside chat answers the top 10 questions that couples have when considering using psychedelics to enhance intimacy. And it is the connectionexperience.love/fireside TCE for the connection experience.
Awesome.
And that sort of answers all of the questions. And if you want to reach out to us, there's a little button there. You can book a time. You can send an email. We can answer the questions, see if it's actually fit for you and your partner. But those are really the biggies. And it's an easy way to get to know, who we are, what our stand is, how we serve our community, and what unfolds.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be checking that out myself, and I look forward to doing so. And give Cory love. I'm excited to meet her and maybe have her on. But this has just been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much, Jay, for taking the time. I truly appreciate you. And
thanks for having me. And I appreciate you too, Maggie.
All righty. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one. For more information, please visit mindsonmushrooms.com. Thank you for joining the journey.